in a scala from 1 to 18, which is approximately an A plus at Standard & Poor's. I'm still in the investment grade. That means an American life insurance would be allowed to invest customer money in such a company. I'm not interested in this. I'm only interested in how much I have to pay when I need money. And I have a margin agreement for this year with my bank of 0.8%. So when I need money, I look into the newspaper, how does the banker buy the money today, plus 0.8 is what I have to pay. One of the reasons for our quite comfortable situation is our price guarantee. I have it carved in stone at the entrance of the hotel, and every apprentice knows that if somebody wants to have a bargain with us, he will bite on granite. For me, a discount is just another word for desperation. And I cannot understand that so many entrepreneurs only use one marketing instrument, the price, and only one direction, always down. My approach to the EFQM model is totally different to most companies I have met. We were not approaching on the left side of the brain, we were coming from the right side of the brain. We have a saying in our company that every year at least we want to win one princess. A princess is always an award. And the way to do it is very simple. First of all, you have to define this vision very clearly. We go for the Bavarian Quality Award, or in Switzerland for the Esprit, or whatever it is. Then you have to evoke a passion for the opportunity. If you would tell your team, maybe we become a finalist, you don't have to start. A racing driver like Michael Schumacher never went into the cockpit of a racing car to drive behind an Englishman. He only raced to win, which does not mean that you always win. This would be arrogant to think. But you have a lot of more energy in a project when you do it to win and not to be part of it is all important. This is not important at all. And if your team is then doubting whether they are able to do it, reinforce the trust in their abilities. Don't worry, if a team is able to do this, it's you. And with this way of doing it, we won the European Excellence Award in the year 1998 after one failure. 97, we were only finalists in Stockholm. And when we have a very important princess to take home, we have special rituals. In this case, for example, I chartered a jet and we went in with a private plane to Paris, which was not more expensive than 8 business class tickets. And then I had all my managers sitting in the first row, and I told them to come on stage, and everyone was given a precious wristwatch, Jäger Kulte, the Verso, and on the back side of each watch, we had the European Quality Award hand engraved. So that was my thank you for all these extra hours they had within 2 years. Celebrate the past, pioneer the future. It's good to take a princess home, but then forget about her and go for the next. The German Quality Award is called the Ludwig Erhard Prize. In the meantime, we have 4 times. The last time we competed was 2012, and that was the result in between 750 and 800 scores. That means if we want to go for the European Excellence Award again, we would need at least 2 to 3 year hard training to become better. But it's not bad 15 years after this first award. The German Quality Award is always given in Berlin, and there of course we also have our rituals to be in the best clubs for at least one night. So my first issue is service quality. A decision to buy is above all is always influenced by 3 criteria. Number 1 is clear, price. Prices have to be right. Number 2 is performance. And here, there are so many companies with rooms for improvement. There are still restaurants having the shop closed on Sundays and Mondays. I mean, why don't they put a sign outside, we are closed because we are too rich, or we want to die in beauty? The customer will not, understand and accept things like this. And number 3, which influences the decision to buy. Unfortunately, here the Italians are a lot better than at least we Germans, is emozione. Enzo Ferrari was often criticized that his cars had lousy brakes. All he said, brakes are not interested, they have to be fast. So this is again this right side of the brain. It's all about emotion and it's not about ISO. I just remember the question you had half an hour ago. The first thing I would recommend is when you are a service company that you build up very systematically a service quality in 5-6 steps. The first step is details matter. Work on details that are the same for all of your customers. When you check in my hotel, you don't have to fill in one of these paper sheets. You get a glass of champagne. We have the weather forecast laying on the pillow in Fahrenheit, in Celsius. When your arms are too short to read the menu, we have the reading glasses, 5 different specs. The same with sunglasses in summer times. The guys don't come back from the lavatories because we have the newspapers in front of them. When you leave the restaurant at night after a bottle of wine, we show you all the radar traps surrounding the Schindlerhof in 15 miles with an iPad. We have approximately 150 details like this, implemented, of course, helped by the ISO organizational handbooks with checklists and job descriptions of the different team members. This is only enough for customers that come once in a while. This is not enough for regular customers. For regular customers, you need a one-to-one marketing, individual services for your regular guests. We work now for 15 years with a CRM tool. We have the photographs of all the regular customers in the software, and my team is chasing all the quirks and preferences from all our regular customers. So if somebody, we have a pillow bar, for example, at the reception, 9 different pillows for the hotel regular guests. Somebody is a Chivas Regal aficionado. He has his bottle of whiskey waiting for him in the room for free every time he checks in. If a regular customer has a dog, we send a birthday card with a chewing bone once a year for the birthday of the dog. And I can promise you one thing, more emotion is not possible with a person who has a dog. So all of these little things are very individual. They don't cost a lot of money, but they make your customers addicted to a company. The third step, the third level is then at the same time the highest level in the value chain is experience plus learning. Experience alone is not enough. Learning alone is dull. We need a combination of the two. Example, we have a service pass in a Japanese garden, so you can look at the kois, and at the same time you learn something about service quality. We have a kitchen school, cooking school, and in this cooking school, of course, we also have a beamer on top of it, and we not only have cooking legends, we have a lot of companies, for example banks, who cook with 15 customers, wealth management, private banking, and while they were crying when they were cutting their onions, the banker showed them new ways to ruin money. So this again is experience plus learning. And many companies are able to do things like this. BMW, for example, has a wonderful idea. I have an M4, and to make it run freely, it was stopped at 250 kilometers. They charge you 2,800 euros, and they are only doing it in connection with a racing weekend at the Nürburgring. And I was one day behind Claudia Oetken, German rally master. That is worth 2,800 euros, but not putting in a cable for a new software. So just think about this level. The next one is the hardest one for us to find out. We wanted to get away from service design. Service design is a horrible thing. When you force people how to answer the phone, how to greet a customer. I mean, you can teach a parrot with 2 peanuts to do this. And of course we also had it because we didn't know better. Service design is enough in America. In my opinion, Americans are easier to please than Europeans. All of us, when we were the first time in a New York restaurant, we were flashed when this young girl came to the table. My name is Jane, I'm your waitress for tonight. We will have a wonderful night together. The first time I almost believed it. It's just blah blah, it's just small talk. And I wanted to get away from this service design, and I'll show you how we did it. We always have our Christmas party on the 23rd of December, and some 8 years ago, I think, everyone was brought into the biggest conference room, and I told them I want to create an album of warmth and sincerity with every one of you. Imagine you are a guest in our company. What specific behavior from the stuff you meet would show you that you are warmly welcome as a very special guest? And then I gave them some pointers to help them. A warm welcome at the reception means, for example, it means during the telephone call, the best example of warmth and sincerity I can remember is, and then every team member got his own sheet in this album with his photo. And here you see the difference between individuality and service design. We have a young girl at the reception. She says, when I check in a guest and I pour a glass of champagne, I get out of the reception and shake hands with the guest. This is something which would not suit to every sort of person. Some people, you know, already 10 years you cannot hug them because they need a more distance. But she is the kind of person that the second time he checks in, she has half a glass of champagne with him. So it's fine with her. And in our working contract, we say that every team member is obliged to come up with his own sheet of paper within 6 months. So even the trainees, after 3-4 months of professional training, here is a young girl saying, warmth and sincerity on the telephone is that I get the feeling the other person has only time for me, unlimited. If a beginner in a profession got this on the screen, it's a quantum leap in service quality. And it helps a lot to get the individuality out of a person. The next step was then that we are the first company, at least in Germany, we have our own delegate for warmth and sincerity. I mean, every company has a quality management delegate, but there's nobody having a delegate for warmth and sincerity. So this is a person, beside her normal job, she's only looking all the time, is there something not fitting our culture, not really feeling well, so she coaches the people. That was a short look at service quality. Now we go to the second part of it, people orientation. Uli Prager was the founder of Mövenpick Restaurants. He said some 40 years ago, you can only smile if you are in the mood for it. You cannot motivate people. If you think that you should motivate people, this would be just like if a huntsman would get a dog you have to carry for hunting. I mean, in Bavaria we would shoot this dog. People have to come with 100% intrinsic motivation. And then you can put a turbo in them with rituals of appreciation, with thank you, with all kinds of things, and this is what I show you next. When a working contract is signed, we have a signpost, a very big one, saying curtains up for our new player. Natalie starts then as whatever. So we are able to get acquainted to the face and to the name. The first working day always starts at 10 o'clock. We have a glass of champagne together, champagne de France of course, and some salmon canapes from the kitchen. And every new team member in the first 15 minutes is given a map of Nuremberg, a restaurant guide through the finest clubs in town, his own business cards with business and private address, a bouquet of flowers, a Schindlerhof email address, and a check card. And on this check card, we have the answers of the 3 most important questions in every company. What is our vision? What are our values? And what is our strategy? So it's very easy. If you answer the question about the vision, you just answer what you want to be. And what we want to be is a talent pool and a place of pilgrimage for true warmth and friendliness. Values, you answer what is important to us, taking pleasure in our activities, with a lot of freedom in our work, and working together in harmony. And our strategy is very strange. We take a detour via staff orientation for a high level of customer orientation, while constantly giving proof of our core competence with prizes and awards that dot our path like a pearl necklace. So we systematically go for these princesses. And I have a mission statement since 1985. If I would have asked my closest managers, what is the most important sentence, I would have got 5 different answers. Since I've reduced it to the max, I get the same answers even from a trainee after 24 hours working for us. So that helped us a lot to get everyone in the right direction. This is how it looks. We have everything in 2 languages, in English and in German. The trainees always have a welcome party in September when they start their professional career. They have their own budget for this party. This time it was Oktoberfest. And on plus of what you've already have seen, they got a lot of more gifts. For example, a voucher, 100 euros for a fashion boutique. They get a voucher for a haircut at the most expensive coiffeur in our town, Mott's Hair, and 20% price release in a very fine bar in Nuremberg for 3 years, as long as they work for us. Most of these things are win-win, networking with other companies. Everyone gets, with his first salary, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a pleasure for me to give you your first salary. I'm sure it becomes very, very big in the next 5-6 years. It's only up to you, because I'm not paying salaries. It's the customer who pays the salary. Then we have 2 excursions per year with our 21 trainees. The last time we went to a very famous television chef in Munich, Alfons Schubeck, and then of course to Hofbräuhaus. The next excursion is going to a fine Irish hotel, Clontarf Castle, which is close to Dublin, and of course we will spend the night on Temple Bar in the finest live music pubs. Before a holiday, every team member gets a letter of thanks for the last 5-6 months with an individual present. So here, for example, somebody goes to Turkey to dive, so he gets a book for the best diving places in Turkey. It's individual. We use the same CRM tool we have for the customers, also for the team. And when a team member comes back from holiday, the first thing he finds in his letterbox is again a letter from myself with a box of chocolate to sweeten your return to work. We are all awaiting you tomorrow morning and are glad that we can work together with you again. If a team member has his birthday, he gets a phone call from me. Here, for example, I have a screenshot from October. I had a 2-day seminar in Irkutsk in Siberia, close to the Chinese border on Great Baikal Lake. And I forgot about the time difference. And in the middle of the night, I called that girl and said, happy birthday. She said, hey Klaus, where are you? Well, I'm in the Gulag. She will probably think about this even in 10 years. And it has nothing to do with money. It's a different approach towards people. All you have to do is you have to get all these telephone numbers into your Outlook and have them checked all the time. Most of these rituals are coming from the family. This is how our pigeonholes look like in the week of Easter. Everyone has this big Easter rabbit of chocolate in his pigeonhole. On the 6th of December, everyone has a chocolate Santa Claus. I mean, we are doing all these things also in a family. Why don't we do it in a company? Somebody works with us for 1 year. We have a glass of champagne, of course. We buy it by the palette, always 600 bottles. And he is given a silver smiley in sterling silver. Working 3 years for us, they get the smiley in 18-karat gold. After 5 years, they are given a Mont Blanc masterpiece, a fountain pen with a blind engraver of the first working day. After 10 years, and here I have to say this is not so often in a hotel, you have a 1-week cruise on the AIDA, on a cruising ship, starting in Palma de Mallorca. A cruising ship is just a swimming hotel, and I have this official as a benchmark, so it's deducted by the tax, and I never had anyone who took it out from my balance sheet. The toughest job in my industry have the chefs. So the chefs, they are getting a very famous television chef once a year for 2 days, who helps them to clean the potatoes. So here, for example, 2012, we had Johann Lafer. He's from Graz, from Austria. I think he's the most famous chef in the German-speaking countries. The year after, we had Tim Melzer, a guy from North Germany, from Hamburg. And the last 2 years, we had the rock star from Bavaria, Stefan Maikert. And here you can see again how a culture of pride is built up. When a trainee 1 day a week in school can tell his teacher, well, Johann Lafer, he's a friend of mine. Last day we had a couple of pints together. So it's a lot of small details that sum up to a real 30% advantage as an employer brand. Because today we have to build a people. We need a brand towards the customer, and we need also a strong, attractive employer brand. We have a lot of outdoor activities to build up the team building measures. For example, once a year I go to an outdoor company which is owned by a very extreme sportsman, Hubert Schwarz. I have 6 days every year reserved for canoe tours. With beginners, of course, I go on very soft water. I have 2 groups already since last year that I can go really white water in Austria, and these pictures cannot really show how much motion you have in this water. The last tour I had 2 young chefs. They went into the water 4 times within 2 hours. And of course, nothing can happen. We have a safety boat with us. We look at the depth of the water first, and these team building measures, I would recommend you depending on the age of your team. I mean, if we two would work together, we have an e-bike tour once a year in Macau, from one winery to the other. And when you have young people, why don't you go bungee jumping with them or alpine climbing or whatsoever? It's worth doing it. The last thing we did was on the 2nd January this year. We had our starting year party, and every team member was given an iPad paid by the company, newest generation. The managers with a SIM card and with more capacity on them. And the annual motto of this year is not an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but an app a day keeps the paper away. So we started now the paperless office. We have our own team app, and on this team app we have the balance scorecards, we have the time schedule, so everyone can see at home for 2 weeks in advance, do I have the morning shift tomorrow, or when is my day off? We have all the information on this app. Mission statement, annual target plan, the entire content of the organizational handbook of the ISO is on this app, and nobody runs around with checklists to do something. All they have to do is click on their iPads when they have to do a mise en place of a restaurant room or whatsoever. Then we have our further education plan on this app. This year we have 45 different seminars for our team, and the entire project management runs on the app. The continuous improvement of process of improvement goes also via app, and we programmed our own voting. So whenever somebody came up with an idea sheet, the rest of the team can vote. We find this a perfect idea, yes or no. We will have more than 1,000 ideas this year. Before the app, we had between 600 and 800, and the implementator quotas were always between 65 and 80%. Almost as good as in Japan, but now we will probably be better than the Japanese, because we'll have more than 1,000 for a team of not even 70 people. I think there is a huge difference, a large difference between managers and leaders. And I'm very grateful to the EFQM because we got so much from them about this difference between managers and leaders. And I would like to show you how I see today these differences. Very subjective, of course, and maybe a little bit exaggerated. So I hope nobody is too shady when I show you my differences. Managers are practical, leaders are visionary. Managers are interested in the next 3 months shareholder value, and a leader is thinking in generations, especially in family companies. A long-term target is 100 years. And not this now, the 5 years or the cash flow is going a little bit up and down. Let managers are prudent. What is this, a dull life when you have to be prudent for the rest of your life? And leaders are experimental, try and error, burn your fingers all the time. We have a special rule in my company already 20 years. We elect the mistake of the month, have a glass of champagne for the guy, put his photo on the blackboard. Today we have it on the app. And we say thank you for the courage it needed to invent something new which flopped. Approximately twice a year, I'm the prize.
Mistake of the
One example. When I built a couple of years ago a building with new conference rooms, I went to China, to Xiamen in South China, to see lessons about Feng Shui. I had my architect trained in Zurich, and it was the Budweiser Institute about Feng Shui. And then the Chinese told me when we built this house that in the corner of wealth we need water. And when you have water running, the money comes in the house. So what I did a 6-meter high waterfall in my biggest conference room. Wherever it's on, everyone runs to the loo every 10 minutes. That was the mistake of the month. Jack Welch said, I have acknowledged failure by rewarding people who have suffered disappointment because they bring a spark to the event. One of my favorite book writers for the last 40 years was always Tom Peters. In the beginning he was a Harvard professor, then he was the boss of McKinsey worldwide. And he said in one of his seminars in London, I will always remember that, reward spectacular failure, penalize ordinary success. Ordinary success is a lousy average thing. I mean, average is something like if you would see your doctor and you would tell him, I have 42-degree fever and always ice-cold feet, and the doctor would say 37.5, you are healthy. I mean, what is average? It's no good for nothing. Of course, we have to learn from our mistakes. Now I refurbished another building of conference rooms. And in the corner of wealth, I have an aquarium with 1,000 liters of water and a couple of pieces of art, which helps the same way to bring in the money, and they will not make the mistake a second time. But it's fun to make mistakes. The next difference, managers only know one decision. They have a small one-room apartment with a tapestry of experience. We have never done it like this, we have always done it like this, all killer phrases you can imagine. And a leader has a 12-room apartment. He thinks and acts multi-optional. We can do it this way, maybe we do it that way, maybe we have another idea, and this is a lot more fun in life when you think in options. Then I think managers are very good on the left side of their brain, and leaders very more intuition. And I think Godfather made a mistake there because he prefers the women. Girls have a lot more intuition than most men. I'm convinced that this horrible story with Volkswagen in Germany would not have happened if they would have at least 1 or 2 girls in the board. Now they have one. They brought one from Daimler in. When I remember my dearest time, 20, 30 years ago, and I said to my wife, I would like to employ this guy. He would have said, I would not take him. When I asked her, could you please tell me why? I cannot tell you. Sometimes I thought they would have burned her as a witch in the 5 years ago. But she was always right. And I think we men, we are also able to, what we say in German, to get spürig, to get this skin away from our soul. Today, I make all my decisions after sleeping over it for one night. I look into the mirror, and I always take this decision which feels better for me and not that brings more money. This is rubbish. It's not worth that. The next difference, managers are controlled. They would never admit a mistake because they are afraid of losing authority. Authority a la Louis XIV, which is no good for nothing anyway. And a leader would say, I'm not interested in my bullshit of yesterday. You have a better idea, why shouldn't I take it? Of course I take it. I'm not afraid of losing authority. Then we can see with managers, they are tidy, they have good manners, they have white collars. Leaders are chaotic, they are passionate. I think if a Latin lover does not wear anything, he's even better than in an Armani suit. What is about this white collar stuff and ties that doesn't let enough oxygen into there? I don't like it, I don't need it. Then we can learn from managers. Managers are consistent, it's a good thing to be, and leaders are sometimes even unpredictable. What I love always about Ferdinand Piech is he always has an ace in his sleeve nobody knows about. Lamborghini, Bugatti, MAN, Porsche. I'm convinced even at the moment there is another ace waiting and he will be coming back. And that's a lot of fun in life when you are able to keep something for yourself and secret and come out with the ace in the moment you need it. Now comes, in my eyes, the biggest difference, especially in the life of young people. A manager has to work hard, like it's already written in the Bible, and a leader doesn't work. I have never worked in my life. I just switched my playground in Bamberg, where I was brought up, into a bigger playground, adventure playground for adults, and I still have the same fun. When I was young, there was a song by Simon and Garfunkel, El Condor Pasa, and maybe you remember one sentence of this song. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. So what do you want to be in life?
Hammer or nail?
If you're a nail, an 8-hour day can be very hard. When you're a hammer, you not even realize that you created on your sculpture, on your company, another 14 hours of this, and you are still fresh, just like when you started. You can be a hammer also as an entrepreneur, as an employee, but only in a company that gives you lots of empowerment. And at least for Germany, what I hear around me, there is not so much empowerment in most companies. An entrepreneur can say, I have 3 ways to live. Love it, change it, leave it. Most employees have 4 possibilities. Love it, change it, accept it, or leave it. And I cannot understand why managers accept so many things that they actually don't like, but they do it. We are not 100% sure whether there is a life after death, but we are 100% sure there is one before. And everyone will know it. The next difference is managers are interested in knowledge. They build up knowledge data banks. I mean, there is so much knowledge in the world. When you log in Wikipedia, you need probably 3 lives to learn 50%. Insight is not so much. And the last difference, there was a little bit also in the questions here in the last discussion. Managers love systems. Leaders love people. One of the most loved systems of the managers is the ISO. We call the ISO in my hotel Idioten sammeln Ordner. In English, idiots collect files. Of course we need the ISO. The ISO is the driver license for a Velo Solex.
Yes.
It's the basics for quality, but it's not important. But managers carry it around like the Bible in front of their heads. You have to do it exactly like it's written in there. Bullshit. It's not important. The only thing which is important are people, and the summary of the EFQM model for me is that we have to help people to grow. And here for the first time, the big organizations have an advantage because you can help your talents within the organization worldwide to grow. And I lose my talents after 5 to 7 years, and most of them get their own restaurants. It also has advantages that you always get fresh blood inside and new ideas from other hotels, but it's tough work always to start with young people from zero. And that's the advantage the big companies have. So at least one thing I have to accept. Thank you very much for listening.